Put your hands up.
Whoa, man. I have no money.
Yeah. Yeah. No mag. Oh, fuck.
What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Today we're going to go over why the hell did I buy this thing? So, if you're anything like me, I usually impulse buy things, well, guns especially, a lot, like a whole lot. And sometimes I impulse buy something and I stick it in the back of the safe and I don't touch it for a couple years until I kind of remember, hey, what the heck is that? And I pull it out and I'm like, oh, why did I buy this thing again? So that's exactly what I just did in this video. I went out and asked myself, why did I buy it? And I'm gonna kind of go over some of the things to, I guess, help me justify this purchase. But before I get into that, guys, I just want to go ahead and thank Atlantic Firearms for being the channel's first sponsor. So Atlantic Firearms is an online pew store. I don't know what I could say on YouTube, but they are a pew store that I go and buy all my pews, and not all of them, some of them I do, but I usually get some pretty cool guns. I got MP5s, AKs, B&Ts, like I buy a lot of stuff through them, and I finally reached out and told them, hey, would you like to sponsor the channel? So pretty much what Atlantic's going to do is supply me with guns, whether it's going to be them giving me a gun, or they're going to let me borrow a gun, or they're going to give me a discount on a firearm, just depending on what the deal is for that month, I guess. But anyways, they are very good people over there. They have very cool stuff, and check them out and let me know if you go on their site and see something that you would like for me to review. Again, I don't necessarily have to buy anything on their site. They can just let me borrow the gun, or maybe if I like it enough, I'll purchase it. So go ahead and let me know in the comments below if you see anything on there that you would want me to check out. Anyways, with this guy here, I did purchase this one from Atlantic Firearms, I think 2 years ago or so. I believe I purchased it for around 450 bucks or something like that. This was before the whole sponsorship thing that I have going on with him now. So basically, let's go over the gun here. Let me just show you that again, guys, because I feel like you missed that. Marker. So this is a Kel-Tec Sub 2000. This one is a 16-inch 9mm pistol caliber carbine. Now, the 16-inch barrel is one of the other things that was appealing to me, just for the fact that I don't really see a whole lot of 16-inch PCCs that I could kind of fold up like this. I mean, this is pretty unique in itself. The only thing that I would kind of compare it to would probably be the Ruger PC Charger, where you can kind of take off the front of it. But I like this one a little bit more just because it stays as a whole package and doesn't have to have two separate parts. And I'll just keep running through what you actually get on this gun, guys. You get a pretty huge front sight on the front of that guy. In conjunction with that, I do have the plastic rear sight. I don't know how I feel about that as well, just because every time I'm trying to get a sight picture, I kind of have to shove my cheek into this as far as I can to actually get a good sight picture on there. So I kind of wish the rear sight was a little bit taller. I don't know if there's any upgrades on that. And I'll talk about the upgrades in a second as well. You do get a 1/2x28 threaded barrel there, just in case you wanted to slap a suppressor or put a compensator on there. And on the topic of compensators, the recoil impulse on this little guy is not too harsh where it's going to be uncomfortable, but it is a little bit more harsh than other PCCs that I've shot, like an AR9 that's not even tuned or anything like that. This one is a little bit more aggressive when it comes to that recoil, and I think it has to do with the weight. the weight on this guy is extremely light. The whole construction is a polymer type construction. It doesn't feel like a cheap plastic either. Just because it's 450 bucks, sometimes you think the plastic's gonna feel a little bit cheapish, but on this one, it feels pretty damn solid. I don't feel like I'm gonna break this anytime soon. Now you do get this 1913 style top rail and bottom rail with these M-LOK slots on each side of this handguard. And moving on back, you get this cool little lever here that is what lets you fold it. Now with that lever, be mindful every time you're pushing that forward, because I have pinched the shit out of my finger when I'm trying to unhinge it, I guess. Now one of the other important justifications on this little guy here is the fact that it takes Glock mag. I love the fact that I'm able to carry a gun and also use the same magazines in that gun within another platform. I think that's a very huge plus to have. Moving on to the trigger. The trigger is not really the best trigger in the world, guys. I mean, I wasn't kind of expecting a super high-end trigger out of a $450 gun, but it's not horrible, but it's also not the best. So that's all I can say about that. It's doable. Now moving on back, you do have your safety right there, and you do have a magazine release there, which is not ambidextrous, which, I mean, I'm righty, so I don't really mind, but you lefties out there, yeah, you don't have a lefty option for that mag release unless there's a upgrade for that. I'm not sure. Now a little bit more back, you have your actual buffer tube stock itself, and your charging handle is back here. Now the charging handle being back here is a little bit awkward for me, just because for me being a weak little girl, I can't really charge that all the way back with my left hand. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if I'm gonna keep my hands on the controls and try to rack that back, maybe I have a malfunction or something like that, and I'm trying to rack that, I can't really bring that all the way back and lock it. So I have to kind of take my hand off the control and then do that. So yeah, I just think that's really awkward for me to do with my support hand here. But with that being said, once you do get it locked back, it's pretty cool because you do have this whole HK slap thing going on for you.
Do the HK slap.
And also to note on the charging handle, it does reciprocate with the gun, which I thought was going to be an issue at first with me having my face and hair so close to the charging handle, but I didn't see an issue on that. I didn't really notice it until I saw it on video. I was like, oh, that's pretty damn close to my face. But now moving on back to the stock itself, it's just, again, it's just a plastic stock, guys. You do have a hole there, or a slot there where you can put a sling onto it if you wanted to. And you also have this little pin back here if you wanted to extend it. You pop this out, you move the stock back and slap that pin back in. And this piece up here is your actual release for when it's locked closed. So when you need to deploy it, you pull this back and pull that up and you're good to go. But now that I went over every little kind of detail there, why the hell did I buy it? Again, I went through a couple little justifications there. The 16-inch barrel being one of the big ones, and the Glock mag being another big one. Other than that, I am not really a huge fan of all the other controls, just because it's not very practical for me. The deployment is another thing. The deployment, it just takes way too long. So say you have this on you somewhere and something's gonna happen, you gotta kind of do this guy here and then rack it, because you can't have a round in the chamber, obviously. Yeah, it's just gonna take you a lot of time to actually get this thing gassed up and ready to go. But again, I wasn't expecting a whole lot of wow factor out of a $450 gun, guys. I personally wanted to have a bug out type survival gun. So yeah, the main purpose I would want it for is a bug out bag, or for me, this is my get home bag. Just because I'm able to just stow that inside very nicely here and package it up where you won't be able to see it. You can't really do that with any 16-inch rifle that I've seen, and that is this thin there. But just check out how slim that is. It can fit anywhere you need to put it. And again, the weight savings on it, I think, is worth it alone. Anytime that I know that I'm gonna take that get home bag somewhere, I usually have a Glock 17 with me as well. And it's nice to know that within that Glock 17, I could use the same mag with this guy, or say I have a 30-round stick mag on that guy in the bag, I could use that 30-round stick mag on the Glock 17 that I'm going to be carrying. Now with that said, I don't think this is a good primary gun to have, just because if I'm going to try to depend on this guy and pull it out of my bag, it's going to take me way too long to pull that out of my bag and deploy that guy and get it ready to go. It's just not that gun, guys. But I do think it's a great survival gun or a great get home bag gun. Something that if shit hits the fan while you're out and you gotta get home with your bag and you gotta leave your car behind, you can take your time, pull out your bag, deploy this guy, put your 30-round stick mag on there or your big drum on there, rack that guy, and you're good to go. Put your bag on your back and you're walking around with a full 16-inch rifle technically. And yeah, depending on where you're at and what type of game is around that area, you can go ahead and use this to hunt with and catch food and all that stuff, and also defend yourself if you ever needed to. And I went out for the first time and shot it, and I shot like 350 rounds around there, so nothing too crazy where I'm gonna say like this is a super reliable gun. I still want to see how reliable it is, but it was very pleasant to shoot and very, very, very fun. I had probably the most fun I had making a video in a long time with this little guy here, just because of how light it is and what you're able to do with it, you know? Like, just look at that, guys. Just, it folds. I did not take it to go do some accuracy testing. I want to kind of get a upgrade for it. And on the topic of upgrades, I would probably only do one upgrade to it. I know there's tons of upgrades out there to make this thing a I guess more pleasant gun to shoot, but when I buy a cheap gun, I want to kind of leave it cheap. I don't want to overdo it with thousands of dollars worth of upgrades, and at that point I could just go and buy a different PCC that I wouldn't need to buy any upgrades for. So the only upgrade would be a red dot optic mount, and I think Mcarbo or Macarbo, I don't know how to say their name, but they make an upgrade that you can kind of slap on the side with these screws, or I don't know if it's the M-Lock, one of the two, and when it's folded, that optic comes like underneath here, and then when you deploy it, you can kind of fold that optic over and you have a red dot ready to go. I think that would be a great upgrade for me to have on this guy, and I could just go out and try to work on distance stuff with this one. I'm not trying to say it's a shitty gun at all. I think it's a great gun. It just doesn't fit a lot of criteria that you would want out of a like defensive gun or something like that. Some people might. I don't want to offend any of you guys. Some people might have one of these sitting on their side. I just think that there are other guns, if you start slapping those upgrades on there out there, that could fit that role. So other than that, guys, I hope you liked my justification of this little guy here. Very neat gun. Kel-Tec continues to make very unique niche guns, and I'm probably gonna buy the new 410 KSG. I don't know if it's called the KSG, but I'm gonna buy a 12 gauge KSG and a 410 KSG, because I felt the 410 KSG at SHOT Show, and that thing was really, really, really cool for the price. Again, that thing was like 400 and something bucks as well. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you liked this little video. Let me know if you actually own one of these and what purpose you have for it. I want to hear your explanation and your justification if you did impulse buy one of these. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into this video. 11,000 subscribers now, guys. I'm growing like crazy, and I love the fact that you guys are enjoying my channel. I will continue to bring you more videos as time progresses. I am paying my videographer and editor now to help me out with these videos, so I am trying to get as much content as I can out for you guys. Now, as always, guys, I appreciate you all so much. Love you all. Catch you in the next one. Freeze! Do you have a permit for that brace? Freeze! Oh, wait.